Welcome to A League of Our Own, Smart Talk for Women from the women of WRHU. According to research, it is not uncommon for girls to be confident, powerful, comfortable in their own skin until the age of about 8 or 9. And then something happens. Suddenly they become self-conscious, self-deprecating, and always second-guessing themselves. So what happens? Certainly impending adolescence is confusing. It's always been, with all of the rapid body changes, emotional fluctuations, and the incessant hyper-awareness of the judgment of peers, and certainly this is for both boys and girls. But girls seem to lose ground more than the boys do, and some never get back to the confidence they had earlier. Why is that, and what can we do? Our guest today, award-winning singer, songwriter, and educator Sheira Brayer, with her program, Motivate, 8 Ways to Rock Your Own World, is changing the way young girls think and behave. Using the power of music and her teaching skills, she's come up with techniques for reducing stress, insecurity, and confusion that all too often is experienced by young girls and undermines their intellectual and emotional growth. Motivate 8 is an interactive, multimedia-based workshop-type program. Sheira Brayer is probably best known for her work as co-creator and head songwriter for the public television series Diddy Doodle Works. That show taught life skills to preschool children through music and humor. Sheira has also collaborated with Oscar, Tony, Grammy, and Emmy Award-winning composer Marvin Hamlisch, as well as a host of other famous names in the entertainment industry. Her goal through all of her work has been to empower young people, and Motivate, 8 Ways to Rock Your Own World is targeted to young girls ages 8 to 14. Welcome, Sheira. So you have this program. Obviously, you consulted some research to create it. So what happens to girls as they approach these tween years, we call them?
Well, it's a very natural phase for girls to start feeling insecure and very self-conscious. I kind of liken it a little bit to when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. So they go through this larva stage, and then they're in the cocoon, and it can be dark and confusing and overwhelming sometimes. But then, after they sort of struggle through that, they can emerge a lot more confident and feeling beautiful inside, just like a butterfly. And so it's a phase that they have to go through. But I think that with all that's going on in the world today and the constant incoming and bombarding of messages, they really tend to lose their inner voice and their intuition and their instincts and what made them feel sort of that magical amazingness when they were younger. And so I give them some techniques and skills that can help them be a little more calm and have a little more clarity, and so they can make better decisions for themselves.
Well, you know what? I feel sorry for them because when I was a kid, they had movie magazines. There were things about celebrities for sure. But now there's such an abundance of television shows and magazines and internet stuff. So I feel like they're always looking over their shoulder, comparing themselves to the young starlet and not realizing that, well, first of all, those images many times are phony. Many times those people have their eating disorders. I mean, there's so much going on, but, you know, how do you get back to that inner confidence? All right, you worked on behalf of preschoolers with Diddy Doodle Works. So now these are older children, and particularly girls, so how did you get involved with them?
I really, really love and connect with kids of all ages. When we had the show, it was really targeted to preschoolers. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted to challenge myself to talk to girls that are a little older, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. I was hesitant because, you know, girls that age are, you know, a little like I'm very self-absorbed and I have a lot going on. And I wanted to challenge myself because I felt that I have the wisdom and the connection with these girls where I can share some of my wisdom. These are things that I wish someone had taught me when I was younger. I think it really would have helped me. So I pushed myself and I put together a program that's very interactive. It has a multimedia component. There's video, there's pictures. I really get the girls involved. And so far, it's been fantastic.
That's wonderful because that age group is so tough, but they also have this thing about being cool. They would tune into you. How do they perceive you as cool?
Well, here's the thing for me. I think the way that I tend to connect with this audience and then just people in general, and I tell them this right off the bat, I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to solve your problems. I'm here to show you how amazing you are. And then I'm here to add to another layer of your awesomeness. Things that you may not have even thought about. A different way of looking at things. And so when I kind of get them to share, it's like a domino game. It's like one person shares and then another person goes, oh yeah, me too. And then sometimes the moms are there and they get involved. They all have so much to say. And you know what? They are awesome. They're very eloquent and they really have a lot of insight. And so I try to pull that out of them and take them to the next level instead of going, oh, those teenagers today, those teeny boppers, they don't know what's going on. I don't approach them like that. I approach them.
I think that makes a difference, the fact that you respect who they are. Mm-hmm. Just curious, did you have a difficult adolescence?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Usually that's what sensitized you.
Well, I had a particularly difficult time because I am first-generation American. So my father is from Poland and talks like this, and my mother is from Israel and she talks like this. So I had a tough time culturally and language barrier-wise. I definitely felt uncool in a lot of ways because of that and because of my own insecurity. So that made it a little harder for me, but I did not feel comfortable in my own skin. I was extremely self-conscious. I didn't know about stress reduction techniques and meditation and the power of your mind. I didn't know anything about that. And the thing is that these concepts are not hard. They're not hard to understand. The hard thing is the doing of it. And so I tell the girls, these techniques that I give you, they're not overnight. They're not going to change your life the first time or second time that you do them or you catch yourself doing something that I call stinky thinking, which girls do all the time. However, if you give yourself some time and you actually try and practice, you will see a marked difference in your body language, in the way you feel inside yourself. It's a process.
So you mentioned two things I want to ask you about. First, you talked about parents. So in these programs, are parents encouraged to be part of it?
Yes. Well, so when I take it to the schools, I try to do both in-school and then after-school programs. But in every other venue, whether it's a library or a girls' organization or a youth group, I really do encourage the moms to be there because that's such an important component. And I tell the parents, remember what it's like when you were a teenager. You need to have compassion. And so I talk about communication skills. It's really, really important that the mothers and the daughters connect.
Now, are the girls free to speak with their moms there?
It's funny you say that because I just had a show last night and I have this section called Intuition. So when I got to Intuition, I have this little thing I do where I invite a volunteer up and I have a series of index cards and I say, I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind. And sure enough, her mom was there, and one of the words was parents. And of course, I whispered her I said, be careful. And she goes, nice. And then I said, brothers and sisters. And of course, her sister was there, and she's like, okay. And I looked at her and I said, you'll tell me the truth later. It was just sort of a funny, light moment. That exercise is actually just a lot of fun. But you know what? They do end up sharing, and they do end up talking about the stinky thinking, and the moms end up talking about their own stinky thinking. And I share my stinky thinking,
All right,
too.
so what is stinky thinking? I just like that word. Well, it's fun to say.
It is. I kind of coined it, and every time I say it to somebody, they go, oh, yeah, I do that. I said, are there any brave volunteers who are willing to share some stinky thinking? And nobody raised their hand. So I said, well, perhaps I'll go first. And I said to them, I shared this emotion that I've had before I decided to delve into tackling the older girls. I thought to myself, oh, well, of course I connect with young kids because they love the music and everything's very sort of entertaining. And what teenage girl's going to listen to me? I'm like this, older woman. I got teen girl and boy of my own. They're not going to listen to me. They're not going to pay attention. This is the stinky thinking that I used to do. And I said, no. This is who I am. This is what I'm meant to do in this world. And I put together a program that I said, I can find a way to connect with these girls and their moms. And it took me over a year to put this program together. And I'm just so happy with it because it's very interactive and it's very
right.
Screens and the video. Like they're just very engaged and they open up. And I really think it makes a difference.
Well, that's that little voice in your head that says, you can't do that.
Right. Stinky
what are you thinking? Who said you can do that?
Yeah.
You are listening to A League of Our Own, Smart Talk for Women. My name is Marissa Spano. Your host today is Fran Spencer, and our guest is Sheira Brayer, creator of a program to empower young girls called Motivate, 8 Ways to Rock Your Own World.
So let's actually get to your program. So I know Motivate, that word is actually an acronym. Does the first M stand for M&Ms?
Yes, I hand
that
out
would
M&Ms.
motivate me.
M&Ms, malteds. We just have a big party. M stands for meditation. And it's so important that we teach young girls, young kids, how to be able to quiet their minds.